Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about safety on the road while traveling, and I have some really great things that I'm going to share with you that I have been using for the past few years. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Bunny, and I actually started out my travel several years ago driving around in a very small car and tent camping everywhere that I would go. I recently transitioned last year into this 2020 NV200, and we have been traveling and going places ever since. Along the way, some of the themes between tent camping and van life are very similar, and I've taken many of the things that I learned in those first few years and implemented them into my more modern van life that I currently am in. However, there's a few things that I've also added to the regiment of normal everyday life that might be helpful to you all, and I hope that this is a great video for sharing those. Now, safety comes in many forms and fashions. It has many definitions for many different people. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I carry with me as a result of situations that I have been in, and telling you some of those stories that have helped me to kind of reach what I have in my current setup. In addition, I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of tips that I have discovered kind of along the way, and I hope that you don't have to learn the same way that I did and instead can just take my advice on this one. Now, a couple of years ago, whenever I was driving through southern Utah into Colorado, there's a wide area of open range, and at nighttime that can get a little iffy if you're not paying attention. Well, as I was driving along, I noticed that there was a flashing light indicating something was wrong, and I didn't know what it was, so I naturally slowed down, and come to find out someone had not been paying attention and hit a cow. It was taking up the entire road. It was pretty graphic, and it was pretty bad because you couldn't just drive around it. So whenever I got up to the area where the man was with the flashing light, I instantly went into what can I do to help mode. Now, at the time I had some lanterns, but they were all the way back into the trunk, so I had to go and start looking for them amongst all of my stuff, and it wasn't very convenient. However, I was finally able to do that and help to indicate that there was a problem ahead. Now, if I would have had this device at that time, it would have been way more helpful. And that is the HOKOLITE. This thing is amazing because not only does it have that capability of having not one light, not two lights, but a flashing light also, but it is also extremely compact. So what I can do is I can actually put this, because it is so small, it actually fits right into the pocket of my front door. So while I'm driving, I can have one of these right next to me. So if I come into a situation that is an immediate need, I'm not rustling through the back, which could also be dangerous because there's not enough light. So instead I can just pop this out, pop the handle up, and start flagging people down, letting them know that there is danger ahead. But I kind of like this not just for the emergency feature. I can also use this same little handle to prop it up on my table to provide light around camp. I can actually hang it to things around camp also, and then whenever I am actually finished with it, again, it just stows away so easily. Now let's cut to a few years back when I was last in Colorado. This one's going to be something that you might think that you're already covered on, but you might not be as covered as you think. I was in Colorado. In fact, I was at Telluride. I was going up to this beautiful mountain lake. It was right after the first snow, and I thought it had all cleared. However, it had not. And again, in my car, going up a mountain, and all of a sudden I felt a little slip back. I'll tell you, that slip back had me feel like I was about to have a heart attack. I thought I was about to start careening off of the side of the mountain. But in fact, my car instead turned toward the mountain side, which was beside me, and wedged itself there. Fortunately for me, I actually had cell service and I was able to call a tow truck, but that set me back $75 just for that tow, and it was absolutely traumatizing. At that point, I was almost ready to hang it up for that particular trip because I was thinking, one, I spent more money than I thought I was going to, two, am I going to be able to get anywhere? And my confidence was just gone. However, since then, I have adjusted my insurance and actually have roadside assistance. Roadside Roadside assistance is something that I definitely recommend you have if you're traveling at all, because it is so handy. Instead of having to pay for that tow truck, I would have had that covered in my coverage. But I not only have roadside assistance through my insurance provider, I also have additional roadside assistance through AAA. Now AAA has a lot of benefits to it. In addition to that roadside assistance, you get discounts to theme parks, also some restaurants, museums, things like that. So that's a really big thing. But it's just so nice to have that comfort to know that no matter where you are, no matter what happens, whether you need a jump, an entry to your vehicle because you locked your keys in, a flat tire changed, or a tow, you can actually get any of those and it's already covered in your package. And that is something that you cannot live without if you're traveling, point blank, period. It is just a sense of security that will make you rest better at night knowing you have it. Now, not everything you're gonna do is going to require that AAA or roadside assistance. There's a lot of things that you can handle on your own when it comes to safety when traveling. And I definitely recommend you put together your own auto kit. Auto kits are so important because they allow you to have most of the things that you could need in a common occurrence. Not to mention, they're going to give you a little bit of extra oomph just in case you need it in some weird situations. Now, this is my personal auto kit, and I have a couple other things down on the floor that I'll also show you. The first thing that I would definitely suggest you always have in your rig is a way for you to inflate your tires. They have these little slime kits online and then at Walmart also, and it is a tire inflation system. So all you have to do, should you have a low tire or something that needs to be inflated, you can even use this on like sports equipment and air mattresses. You can take this out and actually use this. Now, it does have this extender hose also, usually within the slime kit, but the kit itself is just this tiny little thing right here. Super easy to manage. Whenever you're using it, it does plug right into your car, or I can plug this into my Jackery, and then I can say how many pounds that I need on this. There are several different models of these. I just definitely suggest that you look into them because this can be so helpful in a pinch, especially if you're going in and out of warm and cold temperatures. Now, next up, I have this little kit right here, and this kit is actually something that I have put together with my personal needs inside. So if you are putting together a kit that is of similar nature, just know that your kit might not look the same, but think about the things that you do, where you're going, and what you're going to need along the way. So the first thing that I always keep in mind is I have hand and foot warmers or toe warmers. And I do that because a lot of times I go in and out of cooler climates, and I want to have this as a backup just in case I were ever stranded on the side of the road. I could make sure that I stay warm. Now, the next thing in my personal kit is gloves. I like to keep a couple of good pairs of work gloves in here. If I need to change my tire, if I need to look under the hood and touch something that I don't really feel comfortable doing so with a bare hand, if I need to move things around camp, any of those things, I can wear these gloves. And you can get these at pretty much any retailer. These are just standard work gloves. Next up in my kit, I have this little ice scraper right here. This ice scraper is actually pretty amazing because it's so tiny, but it has multiple sides on it. And this is something I just picked up from Eddie Bauer. It's just a tiny handheld, like $4 ice scraper. But should I be in conditions where I ever need it, I do have it, and it doesn't take up as much room as some of the larger ones. Now, here's something everyone should have, and it is a just in case, or better known as a medical kit. Now, in this medical kit, I have everything from cold compresses to, as you can see, tape. I also have Band-Aids. In addition, I have smelling salts, pretty much anything you could ever need. And then I also have an additional medical case that I keep in my van where I can get to it at any time that has acetaminophen, an allergy medication, CBD, things like that. So between the two, I can take care of just about anything. The next thing in my kit is actually something you can purchase at Dollar Tree and Walmart. You can also find these online. These are just regular glow sticks. I like these because they last for several hours, but also if I am stranded on the side of the road, I can pop these to indicate, hey, I need help, in addition to my other lights, or I can pack these into my hiking pack and in doing so, if I'm stranded out in the wilderness, I can not only have light, but also indicate where I am. Now, in addition to the glow sticks and the light, some states do require you to have road flares. So I do have some in my safety kit. I think these were just picked up at Walmart, but you can find them at a lot of different places. Road flares are pretty simple. All you do is just basically pop them open, and it gives you a little indicator as to how to do that on the back. And then after you do that, then you set them on the ground to indicate where you are. So I do have a pack of 3 of those. So that stays also in my safety kit. Now this next thing that is in my kit, I am fortunate that I have never had to use, but I do have it just in case. And it's a big, huge, look at me, I am here, please do not hit me. It is a reflective safety vest. Yes, I have one of these and I'm hoping I never have to use it. However, if I do, this thing is awesome because it definitely indicates that you are there and that you are not to be hit and to kind of scoot out of the way. Now, I don't know where exactly I picked this one up, but like all the other items that I'm showing you in today's video, I will be linking as many of them as I possibly can if you're interested on Amazon. So check that out. But I think this is a great investment. I also know a lot of my van friends who actually put these over their seats to make it look more like they are just a commercial vehicle. And so that might be what you want to look into. Again, bordering on safety and the many interpretations of it. We can do many, many things to ensure our safety, and sometimes just looking a little bit more stealth is the way to go. Now, the next thing that I carry with me is kind of one that I can use around camp, but also can be security. So interpret this how you will. We reach inside the bag and we pull out a shovel. Yes, I do have a shovel that actually fits into my security bag. Now, I have used this shovel for a variety of different things before. I have used it whenever we were digging out at the Great Salt Plains. I have used this as something that I slept with in my tent in case something came to attack me. Yep, it has many, many uses, but it is just a collapsible shovel that folds down. Now, you can get these at Army supply stores, which is where I got mine, but they also sell them on Amazon and Walmart.com. And let's just be very honest, a shovel has a lot of other uses as well. For example, if you are a person who loves to stay in the great outdoors, a shovel can actually be used to help you with your outdoor restroom. That's a different video for a different day though, and I will be getting to that also. But a shovel for security, a shovel for multi-purpose around camp, a shovel for restroom. This shovel should definitely be in your security kit. Now, inside the van, I've already showed you the HOKOLITEs that I keep right in the door for quick access. However, in my little safety kit, I also have one small flashlight. And I can take this out and put it in my hiking pack at any given time if I'm going to go hiking as well. So I like that. But this is just a regular little mag light, nothing too big. It has a few light settings on it so it can get a little bit brighter and a little bit more dim. And it's not something that I'm using every single day, so it's okay for it to be in that little pack. But it's really nice to have if I need it as a backup. Now, this next item in the travel kit is the last one that is in this particular safety pack. In fact, this is one that you can use around camp for a variety of different things, and I think everyone should have one. It's a hatchet, and not just any hatchet. This hatchet actually has a little cover which has a loop on it, so I can connect this to my hiking pack if I go out and decide to do that, and still have it for both safety, and also I can chop firewood with it. Now let's talk about 2 last items that I keep in my van for everyday maintenance kind of items that are also about safety. The first one I have been fortunate to not have to use on my van, however I have used it to help somebody else. Jumper cables. I have this big bag right here that actually contains one set of decently sized jumper cables. Now, when you're looking at jumper cables, they have a variety of different kinds, and they do have some that are less expensive. However, those less expensive ones usually are not very long. So think about the logistics of how far it's going to be between you and another vehicle, and just buy the bigger one. Just trust me on this one. Just trust me. Last but not least, I have this toolkit right here, and this toolkit is actually an at-home toolkit, so you'll notice like regular kinds of things that you would use at your house. However, The reason why this is important is because my home is literally on wheels, and I use many of the same things within my home that you would at your standard home. So if something goes wrong, and for example, this table that I have this sitting on is messed up, I can now repair it. Now again, at the beginning of the video, I did talk about how safety is a very broad spectrum, and you can interpret it in a lot of different ways. So these are the things that I use for my personal vehicle and kind of some of the reasons why. Now for my person, I also have a few things that I do or that I actually carry with me to protect me as well. For example, I always carry pepper spray with me. Point blank period, it is the only safe way to do it, and there are only certain places that you can't do that. For example, when I was in DC, you can't carry pepper spray, so know before you go. In addition, I always carry something that could be aggressive in some way, shape, or form. Now, I for one am not going to tell you all at home what kind of self-defense weapons that I do keep with me while I travel, but just know that as a solo female traveler, you should have some, and you should place them where they're within reach wherever you are within your space. So just know that that is my tip to you all, and I'm not going to divulge that because then that would make it no longer safe. Now let's talk about the common sense things that sometimes we don't talk about on the channel. Always make sure, for one, that you're fueling up before you go out into an area like this. I'm pretty remote right now, so I definitely made sure that I fueled up. Also make sure that you have your oil changed and your battery checked before you go on any kind of adventure, or along the way, make sure you're checking that. Super important just to make sure that your basic vehicle maintenance is up, because you don't want to be in a place where you suddenly start to feel uncomfortable, where you want to bolt and your vehicle doesn't comply. The next one, when you can, back in. It just makes it easier for if something's going on, you can get out of here more quickly rather than having to try to maneuver around. And that just makes life so much more comfortable at night to know that you have an exit strategy at any given time. Invest in one of these. This is a carbon monoxide detector. It's going to tell you if the air has become dangerous within your vehicle. And also make sure that you have one of these so that you can reach it. I like to put mine where I could reach it from the back where I sometimes cook, or from inside should I need it. Now my last tip comes to you all from a story that actually happened to me. I have been asked hundreds upon hundreds of times if I feel comfortable camping by myself, and typically the answer is yes. But my ongoing advice is always trust your gut. Absolutely trust your gut. If you're ever in a situation where you don't feel comfortable, leave. Do not stick around. The situation that happened to me was actually when I was traveling through Tennessee. I had pulled into a state park kind of toward the end of their season. There was no one camping on my camping loop whatsoever. I was the only one. I was about to actually go pay for the campsite, but first I decided I was going to do kind of a walk around, and I noticed there was another vehicle over by the shower house. Okay, no big deal. Didn't think anything of it. I proceeded to finish up my tour of the campground, made it back to my space where I had locked my car at the time, and I noticed that the people from the shower were coming over to me. Again, I'm a friendly person. Hi, how are you? But something about this encounter was not okay. The guy who was actually talking to me seemed to be peering around me, looking into my car. Now, curiosity happens a lot because I am a traveler. However, this was not the same. In fact, there was something quite different about it, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I hadn't unloaded my stuff yet, so I kind of was hesitant to do so. Now, I've learned that if you listen to people enough, you can find their true intentions in their words. So this particular man was saying that he's from that area. He checks up on the campground every so often. In fact, he likes to drive through in the evening. Okay, that could be harmless, but it didn't feel that way. He followed it up by saying, "Don't worry, you'll be all alone here. Nobody camps here this time of year." And by then, everything in my being was standing up on my arm saying, "We need to leave." Now, I totally understand that if you're in that situation, it's real awkward because you have this person who's talking to you, and at the same time, you feel like all you want to do is just retract and run. And that's how I felt too that day. I was fortunate in that the weather was not that great, so I was able to just suddenly say, oh, the weather's not going to be that good, so I'm probably going to end up moving on because I think there's going to be a storm. And I just made my way back to the car and closed the door and got on my way. But I know it's sometimes harder. Don't worry about how it affects other people if you walk away from something that feels uncomfortable. The main thing that you want to protect when you're traveling, the main security and safety that you're concerned with, is your own. That's why we have all of these things in the safety kit. That's why we make sure that we protect ourselves through our roadside assistance, through our AAA, and that's why we trust our gut. It's very important to do all of those things if you are traveling like I am. If you're a solo female traveler out there, I get it. There's a lot of things that people will tell you to run you off from doing this. However, know that as long as you are comfortable with who you are and you can follow these small things, that you're going to have a wonderful time out there. The world is so vast, it is so big, and there are so many amazing things out there, and the last thing that you need to do is be worried all the time. If you're doing everything that you can do, then you are good. Know that. Say that to yourself. I am good. I can do this. I hope today that you have listened to my stories and found some of the items that I use as a result of those to be helpful. If you have, make sure that you like this video, hit subscribe, and check out my future uploads. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not only my adventures, but also awesome van stuff. Till next time, guys.